In this video, I'm going to talk about travel. What was the last trip you made? The last trip I made, that would be a trip I made to America last year. It had always been a lifelong dream of mine to visit Disney World in Florida, and last year my family and I had a once-in-a-lifetime trip there. Over the course of 2 weeks, we visited the major tourist attractions in the state. And the highlight of the trip was when we went to Clearwater Bay, which is located in the south of Florida, and we saw wild dolphins swimming in the sea. It is something that I will never forget. When you're going to start your answer, you need time to think about what you're going to say. A useful way of giving yourself time to think is to repeat the question, or to repeat parts of the question. What was the last trip you made? The last trip I made. That would be. Here, would be is being used instead of is. Notice the use of the past simple here. Made, had, visited, was, went, saw. An error that IELTS candidates often make is starting off in the past tense and then switching to the present tense. Make sure all your verb tenses are correct. It had always been. This is the past perfect, which is a past in the past and is formed using had plus the past participle. Using a tense such as this is really going to impress the IELTS examiner. A lifelong dream. This is a dream that you've had all of your life. A once-in-a-lifetime trip. This is a trip that you will only make once in your life. Over the course of. This means during. Major. This means the main tourist attractions. The state. This is referencing Florida. So instead of repeating the word Florida, I'm referring back to it using the state. The highlight, this is the best thing. And is located means is situated or is found in. What do you enjoy about travelling? There are loads of things that I love about travelling. Firstly, I like getting away from it all. We all need time away from our everyday life to chill out, or you could say chillax. Spending time away from mundane jobs such as cleaning, washing and ironing leaves you feeling energised. Secondly, I'm keen on finding out about different cultures and sampling the foods of different countries. Finally, I'm a sun worshipper. So I love the opportunity to sunbathe and spend a few hours reading some chick lit. There are loads of things. Think of all your answers in IELTS speaking as like mini essays. And if you start it with a topic sentence such as this, it might remind you to say more than one thing. Remember to use discourse markers. Firstly, secondly, finally. To get away from it all. This is an idiomatic phrase and it means to go somewhere completely different from what is usual and to escape from everyday life. Chill out. This is an informal word but it's great for IELTS speaking and it means to relax. Chillax. This is a really informal word but it would impress an IELTS examiner and it's a combination of chill and relax, and we make it chillax, and it's like to chill and relax. Mundane. It describes something that's very boring, dull, everyday, very ordinary. Feeling energised, to feel full of energy again. IELTS candidates frequently use I like in the IELTS exam. And it's not going to get you a high grade in lexical resource. I am keen on. And when we use I am keen on, we need to use an ing verb. I am keen on finding out. And sampling. This means trying. A sun worshipper. This is a person who loves the sun. Sunbathe. To lie in the sun to get a suntan. Chick lit. These are books that are written for women, by women, usually romantic fiction. Do you ever read books, magazines, newspaper articles about travelling? Not as a rule. However, if I'm planning a trip, then I will certainly spend some time checking out articles for recommendations of what to do whilst I'm away. I'm not much of a sightseer, but I do enjoy finding good places to eat, so I will try and make a list of potential places prior to my trip. Not as a rule. This is an idiom and it means not usually, not generally. We can use it in a positive way as well. We could say as a rule, which means usually or generally. Remember your linking words, your discourse markers. Here we're showing contrast. I am planning. The present continuous. Try to use the present continuous in your IELTS speaking. To check out means to look at. I'm not much of. This means I don't really do this. A sightseer. A person who likes visiting the sights. Potential. Possible. Prior to, before. Why do you think it's a good idea for young people to travel? There are a number of reasons why it is essential that the younger generation should spend time travelling. The first reason is that travel broadens the mind. Exposure to different cultures can give you a different outlook on life. Another reason is this: if we've experienced different cultures and met people of different races, we're more likely to be tolerant of our foreign counterparts. Finally, it's fun to see the world and try different things, because when you settle down and have children, it becomes nigh on impossible to do this. Remember, your answers are like mini essays. There are a number of reasons why. The first reason, so instead of saying firstly, another reason, instead of saying secondly. Essential. This means it's really important. The younger generation. Instead of saying young people, try to use different expressions and phrases for people. The younger generation. Travel broadens the mind. This is idiomatic language, and it means when you travel, you learn things about the people and places you see. Exposure to. This means experience of something. A different outlook on. A different way of looking at things. Races. This is another way of saying nationalities. Tolerant of. Showing a willingness to allow the existence of opinions or behaviour that one does not necessarily agree with. Foreign counterparts. It's basically saying foreigners, but it's making it sound a little bit more complex. Settle down, to start living in a place where you intend to stay for a long time, usually with your partner. To settle down and have children, to settle down and get married. Nigh on impossible. Nigh, it's quite an old-fashioned phrase, and it means almost impossible, but it would be quite impressive in the IELTS exam if you said this. It's nigh on impossible, meaning it's almost impossible. Make sure that you do the vocabulary quiz after watching this video to help you remember the words that have been used in this video.